Picture this. It's a quiet Sunday morning. You wake up, grab your phone almost automatically, and begin scrolling before your mind is fully awake. The first thing you see is a young entrepreneur standing in front of a bright orange supercar. The caption says something about financial freedom before 30. You scroll again. A digital creator is showing screenshots of their monthly revenue, numbers that look almost unreal. Another post appears, this time a couple celebrating their new luxury penthouse with floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking a city skyline. The music in the background is triumphant, the lighting perfect, the message subtle but powerful. Life, it seems, is going very well for everyone else. At first, you barely notice the feeling forming in your chest. It's not anger, it's not jealousy exactly, it's more like a quiet question forming somewhere in the back of your mind. If all these people are doing so well, why does your own financial life still feel like a constant balancing act? You close the app for a moment, but the images linger in your head. Because social media has created something the human mind has never experienced before in economic history. For the first time, millions of people are watching the financial highlight reels of strangers every single day, not occasionally, constantly. And the brain has trouble remembering that what it's seeing is not reality, but a carefully edited version of it. Human beings have always compared themselves to others. It's an ancient psychological instinct. In small communities, those comparisons were limited to a few dozen people you interacted with daily, your neighbors, your coworkers, your friends. The range of visible success stayed relatively narrow, but social media shattered that boundary completely. Now, your brain compares your everyday life to the most dramatic financial moments from people all across the world. The result is something subtle but powerful. Your perception of what normal success looks like slowly drifts upward. A stable income no longer feels impressive when your feed constantly shows viral stories of overnight wealth. A comfortable apartment feels temporary when your screen is filled with luxury homes and exotic travel destinations. Even responsible financial progress can start to feel slow when you're surrounded by digital proof that someone, somewhere, is always earning faster than you. But here's the interesting part that rarely gets discussed. The wealth illusion on social media doesn't work simply because people exaggerate their success. It works because the platforms themselves amplify extreme outcomes. Algorithms reward the most dramatic stories, the most shocking income numbers, the most visually impressive lifestyles. Quiet financial stability rarely goes viral. A person steadily building savings over 20 years doesn't generate clicks the same way a video titled "How I Made My First Million at 24" does. Over time, this algorithmic bias creates a distorted picture of economic reality. The internet becomes a stage where only the most spectacular financial outcomes receive attention. Everything else fades into the background. And slowly, without realizing it, millions of people begin measuring their lives against an illusion. The irony is that many of the people posting these lifestyles are also participating in the same performance. Some are successful, yes, but even successful individuals often feel pressure to maintain an image of constant growth and luxury, because that image is what keeps the audience engaged. The system rewards appearances as much as reality. A person may post a photo beside a rented sports car for content. Another might highlight a rare high-income month without mentioning the quiet months that followed. A creator may show the moment they bought a luxury watch, but not the years of financial risk that came before it. None of these things are necessarily dishonest in a direct way. They're simply fragments of a larger story. But when those fragments are consumed by millions of viewers every day, the mind begins to treat them as the full picture. That's where the real psychological shift happens, because money has never been purely about numbers. It's about perception. It's about how secure you feel compared to the world around you. When the perceived world suddenly fills with endless examples of extreme wealth, your brain quietly adjusts its expectations. And when expectations rise faster than reality, the emotional result is predictable. People begin feeling poorer even when their financial situation hasn't actually changed. This phenomenon is one of the most powerful but least discussed economic forces of the digital age. It quietly shapes career decisions, spending habits, and personal ambitions. Someone who constantly sees luxury lifestyles online may feel pressure to upgrade their own life faster than their finances allow. Another person might abandon a stable career path in pursuit of the viral success stories they've seen repeated thousands of times. The social media wealth illusion doesn't just change how people feel about money, it changes how they behave with it. Now pause for a moment in the middle of this conversation. If these ideas resonate with you, you're watching Prime Gorilla, a channel where we explore the deeper psychology behind money, power, and modern economic systems. If you enjoy thinking about finance beyond surface-level advice, take a moment to like the video, share it with someone who spends late nights questioning how the modern economy really works, and subscribe so you don't miss future discussions like this. Because once you zoom out, the illusion becomes even more interesting. Social media didn't invent wealth inequality, but it made it visible in a way previous generations never experienced. A factory worker in the 1980s might have known wealthy people existed somewhere, but their lifestyles were distant and abstract. Today, those lifestyles appear on the same screen where you check your bank balance. That proximity changes the emotional experience of inequality. It stops feeling like a distant economic concept and starts feeling personal. But the deeper insight hiding inside this phenomenon is that visibility is not the same as reality. Social media shows the most dramatic outcomes of modern capitalism, but it rarely shows the statistical truth behind them. For every viral story of someone building $1 million company at 25, there are thousands of quiet attempts that never reach the algorithm. For every entrepreneur celebrating success online, there are years of unseen uncertainty behind the scenes. Yet the mind naturally focuses on what it can see, and what it sees repeatedly begins to feel normal. This is why the wealth illusion is so powerful. It doesn't rely on deception, it relies on selective visibility. The brain fills in the missing details automatically. When you see enough images of financial victory, you start assuming that victory is happening everywhere, all the time. But step outside the digital world for a moment, and reality looks very different. Most people build wealth slowly, quietly, through years of consistent work, disciplined investing, and patient financial decisions. It's rarely cinematic, it rarely goes viral, and it almost never looks glamorous in the moment it's happening. Yet, ironically, that slower path is the one that has created most long-term financial stability throughout history. Which leads to a powerful realization. The real danger of the social media wealth illusion isn't that it makes others look rich, it's that it can make ordinary progress feel insignificant. It can trick people into abandoning sustainable paths because those paths don't produce dramatic content. But once you recognize the illusion for what it is, something interesting happens. The pressure begins to fade, because you stop comparing your life to someone else's highlight reel and start evaluating it on its own timeline. You realize that financial reality is rarely loud, it's quiet. It grows slowly in the background while the internet celebrates louder stories. And that realization changes how you interpret the images that started this video. The supercars, the penthouses, the viral income screenshots. They're not necessarily lies, they're simply fragments of a larger picture. And once you understand that, the wealth illusion loses its power over your expectations. Because the most important financial journeys rarely look impressive on social media. They look ordinary, until one day, years later, the quiet consistency suddenly reveals itself as real wealth.